What did you make of the call when it came in about Peggy Mitchell's last scenes?
I did know that Dominic Treadwell-Collins, the exec at the time, was terribly keen to get Pat back, but there was no way. I mean, I died on screen. I mean, I hadn't jumped into the canal or whatever, you know. And I thought this was going to be a bit difficult. I could have been a long-lost twin from Australia, but we all thought that was very silly. And Dom worked at it. And then when Barbara presented him with the fact that she wanted the character to go out, as it were, with a bang, he thought, she wants to take her own life. She would want somebody to help. Phil's not going to help.
Yeah.
No.
And it wouldn't be right for his character. Would be totally wrong. So that rejection would cause... I mean, she may not be able to do it. And then he thought, to give her the strength, she can actually visualise her old friend. So then, what do? Do you make me, ooh, or whatever? I don't know how else you could do it, other than just put the person that the audience knows as Pat in front of her and just know that the audience are bright enough to realise that this is totally in Peggy's mind.
Well, it was the perfect imagination of her friend, wasn't it? That's how she remembered her, how we all remembered her.
And the payoff, of course, was a letter the next day that Phil got saying, I was selfish to ask you to help me, but I wasn't alone.
But I read in the bio that you were upset about being killed off because you'd asked specifically not to be killed off, and it was quite a shock to you when you had a meeting and they told you you were going to be killed
but
off.
I mean, that's all done and dusted now, and it's probably a good thing, because I do understand where Barbara was coming from when she said that she wanted the character to... Well, the old actor adage, really, leave the stage while they still want more. And I think if you do drift back, you can dilute the character a bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's the danger.
And what was it like to be back on the square with all those people and...
Fabulous. I mean, I was back about 3 times last year doing Back 2 Hours and the anniversary, and I did a history programme there last winter as well. And, you know, it's just like going home because, well, it was home for nearly 26 years.
It must have been very emotional doing that last scene.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Did you cry afterwards?
I think we both had a little teardrop. Yeah. Yes, it was because, you know, saying goodbye to Barbara as Peggy was, you know, and I couldn't have turned that down, could I? No.
And we were talking there, we started with the earrings, which of course were her trademark, and you called your autobiography, which I love, The End of an Earring. It's great, isn't it? That's such a great title. It's out in paperback now. Again, I do remember reading about you once saying, oh no, I wouldn't write an autobiography, what would I talk about? And yet you have done it. So what was the experience like of writing about your life?
Weird. I mean, it was important to me that I wrote my life, not just a gossipy sort of book about showbiz. Actually, I don't think I could do that somehow. So, you know, I thought, well, maybe nobody will want to see this because it wasn't written. I didn't start putting down my thoughts about my life with the intention of an autobiography. I was getting my life into perspective after leaving EastEnders because I hadn't thought about me, really, for nearly 26 years because I was so busy being somebody else. And being perceived as somebody else.
I know, it's weird sitting here, seeing you on telly, like, speaking like, all right, mate, like, you know, and you're so posh. It's like, it's really hard to use that word. No, but it is, you know. And, like, with the book, obviously, I've done autobiographies, and obviously, you've done one for your whole life. How did you feel? Did it not feel like you released a lot off your chest?
A lot of people ask me, was that cathartic because of my whole childhood and that sort of thing. In a funny sort of way, it wasn't, because I don't think I was ever a person, and certainly not a child, who was fighting against what was happening to me. I just sort of went with it, which sounds terribly passive. I was a dark, observing child. Which
you had a difficult childhood as well, didn't you?
Oh,
because your mum died at a really young age.
Yeah, and my father married many times, and so I was farmed off most of the time. To holiday homes
and he was abusive and violent as well, wasn't he?
Not to me.
Not to you, but
never
to your stepmums.
To my stepmothers.
Do you think that affected your relationships with other people? You might not have realised it at the time, but did it make you
Well, with men particularly?
Yeah.
No, I actually, in my own way, adored him, strangely enough. But as far as the rest of the world was concerned, I was this dark observer, which stood me in good stead as an actor, I think. But I think as I got older, I realised that he had baggage.
Yeah.
And I never condemned him, but we didn't have a close relationship when I was old enough to realise what was happening.
I was fascinated to read that you've been in relationships with men and women. Do you find it easy to talk about that now these days? Because everyone's quite open about it.
No, I don't talk about it because it's my business, and I don't talk about it because even if people know me, the public know me, they don't know the other person, and I don't think that's fair. And I made that quite clear in the book.
And you've made that pretty clear to me to shut up and not ask any more questions.
No, I want to know what you think. Now, what I want to know then, I see that what you're saying, my private life is private, but you must have an opinion about people like Miley Cyrus who come out and say exactly who they're attracted to and why in a very open way.
But that's her business, and particularly if but it does worry me there's another person involved, and if that other person is prepared to take everything that goes with it, then that's different.
Yeah.
But, you know, don't upset their lives.
Just click here to watch more interviews with a whole range of famous faces. And click here to subscribe. It's free, so you'd be silly not to, really.